Today is not like a deep dive into one thing. It's a real broad view of what where AI is going, and also that AI is a tool. Like it's a tool to use to speed up your workflow. Just no different to when computers came in, no different to when mobile phones came in, no different to when the internet came in, social media, all these different things. It's just another tool. There's this, I heard this person speak on AI, this like expert in the field, and she was saying how like people are worried about all the bad stuff AI could do, and whatnot, and how much, are we going to turn into the Matrix or Terminator or something like that? But like with everything in life and all technologies, there are about, a few percent of cases where it's really bad and a few percent of cases where it's really, really good. And majority of AI is just, or majority of these things are just mundane, boring, everyday stuff. And if you think about social media as an example, all the bad on social media actually only accounts for a tiny little portion of what happens on it. If you think about all the big viral videos and all the big viral stuff that goes off and all the hate and things on Facebook and stuff, it's like 3% or something of the platform. A few percent of it's really awesome. And most of it's just like people putting updates of their life or like putting cat photos up or, like most of it's just mundane, boring stuff, right? But everyone gets in their head that, social media is all this bad stuff. And then now they're doing it to AI. But actually, there will be some nefarious actors in AI. Of course, there's always bad people in the world. But like for the most part, AI is going to be boring, real boring. And you won't even know what's working. It just will do stuff and you'll forget that it wasn't there in the past. And so just remember that, right? AI is actually, although it's rocket science, a new toy, like most of it's going to be boring. And actually a lot of stuff I show you today, it's quite exciting because of what it can do, but like next year, this is just going to be boring. Like it's just going to be, this is just how you do these things now. And no one will even think twice about it. Why it's good to know about it now is that you can get a leapfrog on other businesses or whatever, or just like maybe save some, improve some efficiencies so that you can reutilize like labor in other ways. That's how we think about it. Or you might be able to expand your business a little faster because of extra capacity that AI gives you, things like that, right? So just gives you a bit of a jump on the rest of the market, I suppose. So that's my little preface for today. My only other last caveat is that my webcam is like playing up lately, and it's already at 39%. And it's dropping like flies, 38 as we speak. So you're probably going to switch to my webcam on my computer real fast, which is not going to make me look as good as this one does. You'll just have to deal with that. But I'll be sharing my screen most of the time anyway. So that's just a caveat if you wonder why I start to look like I'm dying. It's just my webcam changes and the color isn't quite as good. So without any further ado and rambling, there's 51 people here, so let's get started. I am going to share my whole screen so that I don't have to keep changing my share. All right, where are we? So we're on LinkedIn. For everyone here, my company is The Attention Seeker. We are a marketing agency. We do personal branding and content creation. So a lot of the AI tools that we're going to look at today are going to be through that lens for us. I just need to get rid of this thing because it's going to block all my hide floating meeting panel. Cool. Okay. So yeah, a lot of the things that we're going to do are going to look at through the lens of what we do, because that's what I have the most experience on. But almost anything that we do these days can use AI somewhere. So what we're going to start with is we're going to start on LinkedIn, and we're going to talk about how LinkedIn as a platform is starting to embrace some AI, right? And so there's this one particular tool called Taplio, and why LinkedIn maybe is a good thing. So just to tell everyone why we use LinkedIn, it's like a great B2B marketing platform. It's very good if you're a professional service. It's good for everyone, but especially professional services and B2B businesses as a way of marketing yourself. If you haven't been on here in a while, it's kind of like Facebook was when it was good. So it's a really good, powerful platform. Majority of our business comes from it. So Taplio is this tool here on the side, and what you can do is it will set up a profile and it'll give you, it'll find you posts and things like that. Put my email address in. It'll find you posts to comment on. It'll find you posts to write about. it'll reply to your comments that people make on your posts, all using ChatGPT based on the way that you use your language, right? And so there's a little thing in here. I'm not going to get into too long in the LinkedIn. There's a little, as you can see, there's a little widget or whatever that it is. But up here in Taplio this is the user interface. Look, it's not the easiest thing to see. I'll try zoom in a little bit on a web share, but it has a bunch of like generated content. Now, the content it writes, it's not going to be the best, but it's going to get better real fast. But it is a really good starting point, because if you think about writing content, most people that I talk to, their problem is, I don't know what to write about. And so if you let a tool come up with ideas for you, then it's going to be great. So at the moment, I've clicked on industry news, right? So one real good way of establishing authority on a platform like LinkedIn is to find news articles that you care about or the topics that you talk about, post them with your thoughts about the article. And so what this thing has done, I've just clicked on this, and all it's done is it's gone and found real articles and written me a little blurb, my own little personal blurb about it, summarizing what this news article is about, right? And then literally you can like go in through and you can start to agree and disagree, edit and post. So you can start to train it if this is your opinion or whatever. But as you go, you can start to edit these things. I mean, I'm probably not going to do this because I don't really want to do a post on my LinkedIn about Exxon, but you can go in here and edit it, right? And like, you're like, oh, actually, I do care about Exxon Mobil, PR firms, or blah, 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 who knows? I could go in and write something about it, right? And the way it learns what you do is it asks you a bunch of questions on like, what are your interests? What do you write about? What do you talk about? So you fill a bunch of things in, and then it goes and finds stuff. And so you can go through here, compose it, add to queue, and it'll just go. It'll just determine when is the best time for you to post this post, and it'll do it. That easy.
Just a couple questions that I have.
Yes.
So we know that ChatGPT does go through and bring you articles to back up their claims on things that are fake articles, can be, right?
Yeah.
So these are real articles. What we're saying is Taplio
Yeah.
actually brings in real articles that they're finding on the web. Yeah.
Exactly. Yep, that's exactly what it's doing. So it's going off and it's finding news articles that you've said. And like what we do as a company, the way we do this manually is that we go into Google Alerts. So we go to Google News, find all the topics that we want to get alerts by, and Google sends us a list every morning at 8 a.m. with all the news articles that have been written that day. And then we pick some out, write a little blurb and post it with the link. And then that becomes a LinkedIn post, right? And we do that for all our clients and whatever. What this tool's doing is it just does all that heavy lifting for you and gives you the starting point. Now, right now, like I said, like most of the text it gives you is probably not going to be great for most people, and it's not how we're going to write and all that, but that's okay. It'll learn the way that you write as you go. What it does is gives you a base to start with. And as we all know, this is going to give it a year or two. This will be, well, you'll just click post. For most people, this is good enough because most people don't do many posts at all. So it's just about like, well, it gets me started. And once you start putting posts out and you start seeing stuff, you'll start to see what people react with, and it'll get you into the habit of doing more content. So like it's a real good launch pad, I suppose. But there's other stuff here, like generated for you. If I click on that, I get rid of this one. Oh, how do I not do that? There we go. So now it's gone based on some of the things that I've told it, and it's just gone and written posts. So like attract more eyes to your LinkedIn profile. So it's given this catchy hook, how many times, blah, blah, blah. And it's given like a listicle of like what to do on LinkedIn. And so I can either add it to my queue or I can edit and post it, right? Now, again, it's not that you can just take these posts and just go and put them out because most of them aren't great. Well, from I guess maybe I'm talking from my standard, like what we write to, but like for a lot of people, these are a really, really strong starting point. And so you might just tweak a few things, add in a bit of personality and a bit of flair. It'll start to learn that. And then it'll keep feeding you more things. And it's just got 6 of them here, right? Easy as. And so I think that like this tool can do so much more than this. This is just the top level. And we've got a lot of tools to look through. So it's called Taplio. I mean, I can give all the links out and Digital Boost can send them around, but like it's a very simple tool. It doesn't cost a whole lot. I think this is like $50 a month, which is a hell of a lot cheaper than hiring us. And it'll do enough for most people, right? It's to the point where like, as a business, we're like, oh, If this gets any better, we need to really rethink what we do as a company, because it's so good. But it is really a strong tool that helps you as a small business or someone who wants to get started in the space. You might just want to test out LinkedIn to see if it's the right platform for you, but you don't want to invest a lot of money. This is a great tool that you can use.
Okay. There are a couple questions specifically about Toplio here. Yeah. So
Cool.
Georgie's asking, with Toplio, can you include links to your website/blog, and will it write a blurb?
You can. So you can have it. You can. My screen is covered in Zoom, but you can go into Writepost and have it. Like you can go into here and have it generate stuff for you as well. So there are ways to go put your blog in it and have a link and say, scan this text and whatever. The same way ChatGPT does, right? It's no different. It literally uses ChatGPT in the background. So all you're doing is you're saying to it, here's a link, read the article, give me a blurb to put above it, and then we can post it. My only thing about that is if you're going to put blogs about from your website on your LinkedIn, you're not going to get any traction on it. It's just not going to work. Like it will not ever do you any favors at all, because LinkedIn's going to suppress it because it knows you're sending someone off to your own website. We've tried it many times. It doesn't work. The reason you can use other links, news articles, news websites have a different sort of ranking in LinkedIn, that if it's from a verified news source, LinkedIn will promote it because it's real news by a published author, by a published something. So it's a different thing. So that's just a caveat there. It can do it, but I wouldn't do it.
Yeah, great. And then one more question here. So Natalie's wondering, if you're managing a page for client, can you separate and have it recommend posts for you as your own business and separately as your client's page? Can you do that all on one page? Yeah.
No, you can't do it all on this. It is the way it works and the way LinkedIn allows it to work, because this actually works. It's a tool that LinkedIn allows, is that your browser has to be logged in as this person, this client, and so it all works in an ecosystem. So the only way to really do this with multiple clients is just to have multiple browsers, right? So you can have different accounts for Google, or you can have Microsoft Edge or whatever it is, and you can be logged in as different people on different browsers, or Google can have different users, so you can have a user set up for every client, Google user, and then when you click into Google Chrome for the first time, it'll ask you which user you are, and you'd pick it. That's the way to do it. But it's one user per thing, and that's a LinkedIn limitation that they put on it, so it can't be used for that reason, because they don't actually want to use for like LinkedIn wants. It's like LinkedIn's in this weird spot of like, it wants it to be all super authentic and people doing their own stuff. And also it knows it needs agencies on play to make better content so that the platform has better content. So it's like in this weird spot. So you can do it, but it's not real simple. It's not like a publishing tool like HubSpot or whatever like that. Yeah.
Great. Thank you.
Cool. All right. So that's Toplio. I'm going to keep moving forward because we're going to run out of time.
No, go for it.
Publer is just a publishing tool. It's like Hootsuite and all the rest, Buffer and all that. It's just the one that we use because we've had it forever. And but it has AI built in it too. This is essentially ChatGPT, but it's just a really clever use of using ChatGPT. So I'm in a client of ours, Andy. He won't mind me sharing that we're with him. He loves the attention. And I've just said here, write me a post about how the pressures of diminishing returns and tightening of margins are affecting the construction industry and what can be done to fix it, right? I just made that up before this call. Generate new text. So it's already done one here, but I'm going to do it again while we talk. And you can sort of have a read while you go. But it's just a real simple AI tool, like to help you. Like if you know what to prompt it, like if you know your stuff as someone like Andy, who's a planner in the construction industry, and he might have a topic he wants to talk about, he can do this, hit it. It'll give him something like this, and he can adapt it to his style or just change little things here and there, and it'll keep working. It's not as fast as if just going to ChatGPT, but the beauty of these tools integrating ChatGPT is that it's faster in the long run, because it might take a little bit longer to generate something like this. So here it goes. It's written this whole thing and given this whole bloody blog post, so you can have a little quick read while I'm talking. But I can just go add to post and hit post, right? I can just go straight away and it'll get onto my LinkedIn rather than like ChatGPT. It's just a little bit clunkier. And as soon as there's a little bit few more steps, we as humans get turned off and we just stop doing it. So the easier we can make this for ourselves, the faster it is. So again, it's pretty similar to Taplio, but the beauty of Publer or Hootsuite or all the other ones that have this built in now is that you can have Instagram, Facebook, whatever, whereas Taplio is specifically for LinkedIn. There's a lot more Taplio does for LinkedIn too, so we just didn't get into, but it's not really AI stuff. But there's a lot more for Taplio, whereas Publer and all these other ones, they're a social media scheduling software, but now they have ChatGPT built in, and so they're fantastic. The other thing you can do is you can actually go in here and you can use like Publer AI generating images. So it just works like DALL-E and all of those. If you've used it, you click on it and you could say, image of a man in a black tee on a Zoom call. Right. And so it'll go and create you some images around that. Now, look, generative AI images are a lot harder to do. Like it is very much an art form. Like you really know how to prompt these very well. But I wouldn't necessarily use humans in it because they're always just a little bit weird. Okay, so it didn't quite make it a Zoom call, did it? But you get what I mean. I wouldn't use it necessarily for this sort of imagery. I'd do it for like more like fictional sort of stuff or image drawing sort of things. But it's in there anyway. The whole point of it and the reason I'm showing it is about speeding up your workflow for putting out content more consistently, because I know that that's a thing that's really hard for a lot of people. So Publer, there's plenty of tools out there, scheduling software, they all have ChatGPT built into them now, and they're all brilliant. This next tool is, it's called Fireflies. It's one of many tools that do this, but what it is it's essentially an executive assistant for your meetings. So you have a Zoom call, and in fact, you can have a meeting in person and just have it on your phone recording, but it essentially listens into your meetings. It transcribes everything that happened in it and records it all. And then it gives you feedback on things and you can find stuff. So like this particular call that I've done it on isn't a real client call. It's another agency in Glasgow. And it is, we're just having jokes and funning around. It was a bit of more of a social call. So like, it's not perfect, but I probably didn't want to put an actual call with clients on for this one because they might have got offended. But, I can go in here in tasks 21 and it'll go and find things that have words that are action words, right? Like, let's make, can you get? So it's finding these key phrases that it's like, this might be a task that you need to do, Stan, or pricing, right? You've said something about money. Okay, here's one on pricing if you need to go back and find that. You might want to find everything. Let's say speaker one was me. You might want to go find all the stuff I say, things like that. There might have been a bit of a heated call and there's some negative sentiment there, right? And so it's finding words that have negative sentiment and it's going just double checking that we can go back to that. So it's brilliant. What it also does is it like pulls out like, it's not going to do it for me right here. It pulls out like sound bites that might be really interesting for you to clip out. It can send emails afterwards. So like you can have it set up so that after the call, it will go and pull all the actionables that you've all agreed that you're going to do and send it out to everyone and say, hey guys, here's the meeting notes and here's what we all agreed that we would go and do. And it would go and do everything, right? So it's like, for me, it's really, really good because I like sit in meetings with people. I say a bunch of stuff. I get all creative. I do all this jazz and dance around. And then I leave the meeting and I'm like, what did I tell those people? Like, what are we going to do? And then I forget half the stuff and I just remember the main one. And so it's really good for me because it gives me like a list of stuff that, hey, have you done all these things? And all you have to do is like have it set up. Once you log in, create a user account, you can just say to it, because you'll log in with your Microsoft or Gmail or whatever it is, and you'll just say, invite yourself to all my meetings. Or you can have it that you CC it in whenever you want it as part of a meeting. So you might not want it in all meetings and you only want it in some. So you can CC it in. The only thing to be mindful of is that it turns up as a user on the call. So it obviously won't have a camera, but it'll be in there listening. So if you're if you're on a sales call, you might want to acknowledge that, oh, hey, by the way, it's just my AI executive assistant taking notes for us on the call so I don't miss anything, which when I talk to people, they kind of like it because at least I'm being honest that I'm not going to remember everything we say and I'm not taking notes because I'm too busy concentrating on this call. But yeah, brilliant tool. It cuts down on so much and makes you not miss things and makes you remember everything. And you can search in it as well. Like you can just search for things like, oh, we said this thing about blah, blah, blah. And you can just put that word in and it'll find that piece of the conversation so you can listen back. It's also really good. We use it also for discoveries with clients who are, so when we're doing our discovery piece, it'll just summarize all our notes for us. It's so good. Like you'll just have all these notes summarized. It'll give you everything that you need and you can go around and find whatever it is. So yeah, Fireflies, very, very good, powerful tool.
Yeah, before we move on, we've got a couple questions about Fireflies. So two are pretty similar. Simon and Adam want to know how Fireflies compares with Otter, or if you would prefer Fireflies to Otter.
Oh, sorry. I just started. That was my fault. I clicked on the play button. Sorry. How does it compare to Otter?
Yeah. And do you prefer Fireflies to Otter? I'm assuming, you use it. So
honestly, it's real similar to Otter. I've never used Otter from a meetings perspective. I've only ever used it from a auto transcribing perspective. So if Otter can do all this stuff now, then that's cool. I've only ever used it from a transcribe and search for thing. Whereas this, and it might do now. I haven't used Otter in a long time, but at the end of the day, the transcription functions and everything are pretty similar. I mean, there's heaps of tools that do it. I don't ever recommend a tool because you've got to find the one that works for your workflow. Fireflies is great. Otter's great. I used to use Otter a lot. The only reason I changed to Fireflies is because at the time, which I don't know if it does now, Otter didn't do actual meeting notes and give you actionables and stuff like that. What it used to do when I used it, just transcribe. And from that, you could go search your notes. But if it does that, then they're probably just as good because its transcription ability on Otter was top notch.
Yeah. And then, so many questions about this one. It's such a cool tool. Like I'm loving what we're saying about it. Now I want to record all the arguments I have with my husband. Can you upload existing recordings to Fireflies is a question. Yes.
Yeah. This is uploaded because I didn't want to. Yep. So this isn't uploaded. Yep.
And then, this is a good question from Sarah. Would you use Fireflies with confidential information? How is the information managed in the back end? Or is it best to be cautious about the content it captures?
Yeah, look, if you should always use caution when using AI and confidential information. You don't know where that information is going. Who knows what these companies say? Who knows if it's true? With real super confidential stuff, I'd probably leave it out if you're worried. There's going to be leaks at some point. Someone's going to learn how to I don't know. Just don't do it if it's real confidential. I wouldn't do it. These tools do talk about the fact that there's sovereignty and stuff of data and I don't know. I'm a bit of a skeptic when it comes to that part. Anything that goes on the internet, it's no longer confidential. So think of it that way. That's my way, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, great. And then one more question, not particularly with Fireflies, but with posts or particular topics, trends, etc., with regards to LLM ability to access up-to-date info. Is there a way to have up-to-date info within such posts or blog articles, i.e. input data based on 2023 data sets for it to then commentate on this? So I guess it's asking about how specific, if I'm reading this correctly. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of the tools, so the way a lot of the APIs and stuff work is that when you bring the tool in, you can then train it on other data sets. And so a lot of companies, Publer included, give it access to more data sets that it has. It's just the ChatGPT function is trained on a certain amount of data. And actually, I might be wrong here, but I believe when you log in and you create an account, you pay $20 a month for ChatGPT. Maybe the data set's a little bit more. I'm not sure. That might not be true. But I do know that there are companies like Publer who give it access to more data sets. What I would say is that don't use it to comment on current events and things. Let it comment on concepts or ideas and things like that, and then you make it relative to the day, because you'll the worst thing you want to do is be like historically wrong about something that happened today. Like that's like, I wouldn't trust ChatGPT yet to do that. So again, don't use the tool when ChatGPT is like, oh, I did this thing, and let's just automate it and let it do whatever it wants. Like it'll be able to comment on the, even if it's got old data, it'll be able to comment on the ideologies inside the article and how you can respond to it and your take on something, because it'll learn the way you feel about something. But I would always check over an article post, because like there's too many nuances that ChatGPT or these AI tools can never fully comprehend. Well, not yet anyway. And so can it? Yep, there is possibilities to get bigger data sets. Would I let it just do that even if it had the extra data sets? Nah, not at all. I would never just let it go for gold. But yeah, there are ways to do it. And Public does have access to a bigger data set.
Great. And then how, just totally separate topic, but how well do these tools work with Indigenous languages and pronunciation? Do we have to like log into, okay, we are speaking this language, or we're, you know?
Look, at the moment, we're still like early days of AI. Like it is early. Most of it's in English. Very like there are other languages and stuff, but like the main data sets that have been used are English, and that's because the majority of the internet's in English. It's the predominant language of the internet. And so therefore the data sets that it has to work on are English. It takes massive data sets to train these models, like massive data sets. They're just huge. And so for Indigenous languages, there are just not enough data sets to train it well enough yet. They have got people train them on other languages and stuff. And of course, like people are trying to do that, but it's not yet at where it could be compared to where English is. Yeah.
Great. Thank you.
Cool. All right, we'll keep going. Home. This one's quite cool. We are only as a team about to start using this. So this is a real new one for us, but this is like PowerPoint presentations, automatic PowerPoint presentations. So the idea here is that it can essentially write you an entire PowerPoint presentation off of a prompt. And so like you can say, I am fundraising to pitch my business, which does this, and I need a deck and blah, blah, blah. And it'll just go and make you this whole deck. And it's crazy. And then you can just like take that as a base and, you know, swap out whatever information that you need to make it work for exactly what you need, right? So like this, you can do this, all of this comes off a prompt. And instead of me doing it, because like I'm literally so new at this, we're only just starting to learn how to use this ourselves. I've got this quick little video here, which I'll just quickly show you. There's no sound, by the way. I mean, I know you guys are watching, but like that's outrageous. Like, I don't know how many of you guys do pitch decks or PowerPoint presentations or like digital boost presentations where you got to write a PowerPoint the night before. Like, this is outrageous. Like come on. That's real. Like you can do that. Like it's not that. It's like just a tool that you can use tomorrow. What do we got from it? Have we got any questions on that one before I move on? Nah, cool.
No, I think we look good.
Oh, let me just hide this thing again. Hide floating moving controls. Okay, so that's Tome. I'm not going to get too much deep in there. Like I'm just using it, but again, I want you guys to see like what's possible. That's next level. Now, something to be noted here: a lot of these tools that you're seeing in about 6 or 9 months or so, I'm not sure when it is, maybe even later this year, Microsoft is going to add Copilot to Office 365, and Copilot is its it taking OpenAI, because I don't know if everyone knows, but Microsoft invested stupid amounts of billions of dollars into OpenAI, which owns ChatGPT, and they're going to incorporate it through their whole Office suite. And it's going to have the same feature for PowerPoint, where you just tell PowerPoint, this is what I want, and it'll just do it. But this is amazing. Like, it'll never replace a graphic designer. It's never going to be as good, but it's going to be better than most of us can use PowerPoint or Keynote or any of that sort of stuff. So brilliant tool. Have a play. We're only just starting to play with it now, so hoping that we can make our decks look a lot better. This one here is Descript. I'm going to show you this tool here. So Descript is a tool that we're also starting to use. What it does is it transcribes your videos, your podcasts, whatever it might be, and then you can train it to learn your voice, and then you can just write things and it'll just speak as if it's Stanley. And now, my voice is still not quite trained because I was trying to set this up for this and it takes a little while. But there are ways of like, I was going to show you this video, but it might be a bit too long. But I might just talk about it because it might take a bit too long to go through. But essentially, I've seen it work. And if you Google it and you find examples of Descript overdub voices or generated voices, you'll see it where someone has just put in like I put in like an hour-long talk that I did at a keynote. I chucked it in, and then it just starts to learn your voice. And we did it for a client of ours, which I can't show you that one, but we did it for a client of ours where we did a bunch of interviews, and then we realized that there were words that they said wrong in it. And so we put all that video into Descript. We had it learn the voice. We then were able to go in and just change all the words just by text, right? We'll just be able to go in and change the word, and the voice in the video just changed. Like, it just changed what they said. And that was on a video too. And you can't really tell, like, it doesn't change all the video. It just says something different. But so as long as it's not too far removed, it'll just fix up any word. So if you say a number wrong, or you say a name wrong, anything like that, you can fix it. The other thing it can do is it can just do audio recording. So you can just type a whole script out and hit it, and it'll just have a whole voice track. And then there's other tools, Resemblance, I think it's called, is the other one, which I'm not going to show today. But that one can make like a deep fake really fast based on the video, and it can just make your mouth move to the audio that Descript made for you, right? Like that, I mean, it's insane. Like, I don't know if like I would listen. I think you'd be able to tell at the moment that it was an AI voice, but if you like used it the right way, like if you used it in amongst some other content, or you did a filming session and you missed stuff and you had to do a reshoot, instead of having to do a reshoot like we did, like we couldn't get the CEO of this company back in the room because they were too busy. And so we're able to do this really quickly. So it's that thing. It's about speeding up workflows way faster, and just like the cost that comes from having to do reshoots or come back and do things again. It's insane what this can do. You can make full AI like content, but I don't know. I don't think it's that good to make a full AI piece yet.
But you're needing consent from these people to then, if you can't bring them in, we can, yeah. So, it won't
let you do it. It won't let you do it without consent. You have to get them to read a script inside Descript. That's a thing too. So you can't just ask it to do it. So we had to get him to log in, say the recording, it verified that voice with this voice and said, okay, that's a match. We'll go.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
I'm getting blown away by all of this. This is wild. Paul, we're getting so many conversations happening in the Q&A, but Paul's saying it's a quick way of doing audiobooks, for example.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's actually a fantastic idea. I've never even thought of that. That's really good.
Yeah. Yep. Take away more jobs, Paul. Great. Yeah.
Well, especially if an author has to read their whole audiobook, like they could read the first hour and then the rest of the 9 hours.
It saves so much time. Maybe, more time, more money. There you go. Do more books.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. So that's Descript. Fantastic tool. The next one is Photoshop Generative AI. People might have seen this stuff, but like if you haven't had a play with it, it's fantastic. So this is me standing in an office, but actually like it's from this photo here. So this is the real photo. And then like, this is me in this like other room. And then you can change it. You can just like put me in other rooms. Now, like I quickly did this morning, so it's not like perfect and you can get it better, but like, that's pretty good. Like on a social media app, you wouldn't even know that that wasn't me standing in that room. The resolution would be so low, you wouldn't even be able to tell of this difference, right? So what's really cool about this is actually we've used this for some clients at some points where like we've set up a set that's quite constrained, like this, and then we've like added them into other scenes and we've done it seamlessly. And you cannot tell because we've done it properly. It hasn't just been me mucking around on it in the morning. And you can actually do it with like a green screen or whatever to chroma key it out properly. And you can just like do a whole photo shoot in a studio and then have them standing in Paris on holiday with their kids or, you know, whatever it is. Like it's still generative AI. So like you put a bunch of other people in it. Like I'll show you this other example. Say that one there. I mean, it's not as good of a cutout because there's some things, but like if you look at the hands closely, they were a bit weird. At first glance, you're like, oh, it doesn't look too bad, but like, yeah, go look at those hands. That's a bit messed up. And this one here, the context is wrong for the photo. So like, this is the photo that it started with. And then this is what it did, like by putting me into a bedroom. And you can change it around and change the scene and stuff like that. So obviously like, I didn't take these photos with the idea that I would be doing AI shots, but if you did and you set it up right, you can start to see how like real easy it is. And the other thing with AI now, like on Photoshop and these tools that are so powerful is that if I go and take this away, one of the hard things like on a subject like this is like trying to, like if you've ever used Photoshop or you've used any of these tools before, anything like a Canva, trying to like cut out the person that you want to get rid of all the rest. And these days, like you just go select and you hit subject. You just select subject and you just wait for a little bit. And then when it does its thing, it'll just go and grab me. And like it just does it. And then you can just like, for this instance, I can go select inverse. And then I can write down here in generative fill, I can say, put me on a tropical island. And I'll hit enter and it'll take some time to do it. It's going to look terrible because I'm not setting a scene for it, but you'll see, you know, with some creativity and some like actually setting up the photos properly, you can do almost anything.
This is amazing. Which tool is this one specifically?
This is Photoshop, and This is the beta version of Photoshop at the moment. So it's not in the full version of Photoshop 2023, but if you have an Adobe subscription, there we go. You have full access to this tool. You go onto the Creative Cloud suite and you download it as Photoshop beta. It's because it's beta, it's still testing, but anyone can get access to it. You don't need to necessarily be an early access person. It's just separate to the main Photoshop at the moment. But like it's super powerful, it's outrageous. And if you use some creativity and not just do stupid things that I've just done here, you can start to see how you could like really use this for like touch-ups or making interesting images that might look something different or get a bit creative and things like that. So you don't just have to use people either. You can use this for landscapes and all different sorts of stuff. If you're a photographer and you're trying to edit things, you can do sky replacement. Like if you take a photo and it's just like a bad day, you can just go hit sky replacement and make it sunny and it'll just change everything. You can, and even to the point where you can get it to go, like, let's say if you look at my face, I'm a bit dark on the one side because of the light and shadow. I could tell it to like, I think I could just do it here to like lighten. Oh, maybe not actually. This is probably the wrong place to do it. Lighten up my face. This is probably going to do something really bad. But you can just tell it to like change your face. There's other tools inside Adobe Photoshop now where you can like make it change the expression on my face. You can make it change the direction my eyes are looking. Like there's just so many different things you can do now with Photoshop that it's scary how good it is. It's obviously there's optimal conditions and things like that. Nah, it hasn't really done anything properly there. But so that's Photoshop. It's come a long way. Oh yeah, see, this has done some other random thing. Who knows what this is? But let's keep moving on. So this is Premiere Pro, and this is, I don't know if this is going to work for me, but I am going to give this a crack while we talk. Maybe I should have done it at the start. Maybe it's going to take too long. But this is a podcast. So if you look at the side here, it's got a preview of a podcast that me and my team did. And so there's 3 different cameras. 3 different cameras there, right? So there's that view. There's, when it loads, there's that view. It's going a bit slow because I'm not plugged into the server and I'm doing it off Wi-Fi, but there's 3 cameras. And I can go window, extensions, and I can use this tool called AutoPod. So AutoPod is an AI editing tool. And I can say there's 3 cameras, 2 speakers, and I can do the rest, but I'm not going to do it. I just create multicam edit. And it's probably going to take a little bit of time, so we might shift off it and come back. Oh, it's only 2 minutes. But maybe we can talk while we do it. But essentially what it's going to go do, it's going to go through these 3 cameras, and it's going to switch back and forth depending on who's speaking. And so it's going to cut me, like it's going to do all the editing for me for my long form podcast. So I've just taken an hour and 15 podcasts, and it's going to take 2 minutes to do the editing. And anyone who's done any editing for any sort of podcast, it doesn't take that, like it's way longer than that. It's not that easy. And so it'll first do this. And then as we get into it, which I'm not sure if I'm going to have the time today, but it'll also cut you miniature clips, like, 1 minute clips on a topic that it'll find. And it'll say, hey, this is a good clip. You should clip this out. And so in terms of like production speed, if you've got editors or you're doing the editing yourself and you just need to get some time back because it's taking you too long, this thing is outrageous. Like to the point where we have these things, they're called Blackmagic switches. They're like $1,800 each. We've got 2 of them for our studio here. And the idea behind them is that I can have a person sitting in the room while a podcast is happening, and I can live edit the podcast. So I can switch back and forth, right? Brilliant tool. It's amazing. These things used to cost like $10,000. Now they're like $1,800. I don't need it anymore. Like I've got these 2 $1,800 switchboards that we do not use them anymore because it's faster to do this. And I don't have to have a person in the room just to switch. And instead I can reutilize that person. And what they do now is they'll take timestamps, and those timestamps go into a spreadsheet, which you give to AutoPod, and then it'll go and cut all your clips for you based on what you want it to cut. And the reason we do that is that the AI is still not good enough to find, it does find good clips, but we can find more, like, because we know, what actually is happening and we know the context of everything. But like speed of production is through the roof. So this you do need Adobe Premiere. So you do need an Adobe subscription. So if you are doing a lot of editing, then you'll probably got something anyway. We use Adobe Premiere because of the whole suite of tools that it has. So it's like $80 a month or something like that. And you get Photoshop and Illustrator and InDesign and Premiere Pro and all these different things. But then AutoPod, I think AutoPod's like $60 or something for a lifetime subscription, like a lifetime thing. Like it's one of those, you don't have to pay $10 a month or anything like all the other tools that I've showed you today. This is just like a one-off. You get a license fee, you plug it into Adobe, and it just goes. So we're about 30 seconds out from this finishing. I hope
we have a question.
Please. Yeah.
Yeah, no. I'm like riveted, and we're going through so many different tools. It's kind of like, it's blowing my mind. It's blowing my mind in so many ways. And it's funny because people are coming through and going like, oh, why, I wish we had this when I was going through like design school or when I was doing. Yeah. But at the same time, like you said, Stanley, you also need that human skill to be able to tell the AI where to edit, why to edit, where, how. I already said where, but all of that. Paul's got a question specifically about this. And Paul, there might be a typo, so forgive me if I'm not getting this right. Can it also to cut shots, i.e. zoom in, if you only have one camera for a bit, so it's not just one view the whole time? So one camera.
Yeah, that's a real good question. I have never tried single cam changes on a wide angle. However, it does do if you're doing reframing for like let's say I've got a wide angle like this shot that's on the right hand side of the screen here, and that's the only camera angle I got. But then I want to clip it out for say TikTok, right? And I want to make short clips for TikTok. you can get it to reframe in the 9:16 format on the person who's speaking each time. So that is one camera, two views. So it'll chop and change back between people. In terms of zooming in and out, that's something I haven't actually tried. I'd have to ask the team if it can do that. It's never something I've tried before, but like, I couldn't tell you the answer to that. Maybe once this finishes, because it's just gone again, we can have a look to see if it'll let us. But it can do one camera and multiple cuts, but it's not going to do like it's a zoom in, actually like a cut into a different framing of a size. So it's not going to be able to, not that I'm aware of, it'll be able to take a landscape and then zoom in as a landscape. I don't think so.
Right. Okay. Thanks. Okay.
So, is there other questions while we wait?
Comments?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
but there's a
what
question.
I might do. Oh yeah, go, please.
Yeah, but it's not about this, but that's okay.
That's okay.
What about the copyright of ChatGPT issues? Can someone just use the stuff generated by GPT and copied verbatim to use it in the public domain?
Oh, I mean, yeah, they can. Like the copyright laws of ChatGPT are not through the system yet. So there hasn't been any sweeping changes to legislation on that. But in saying that, it is like generative AI, what it means is that it is generative. It doesn't just like, it won't just go take another text and just give you that text. It'll rewrite it in the style of something. So it's never technically a copyright. It can get pretty close to stuff, but it's technically not taking someone else's work. It's using it as inspiration, which at the end of the day is what we all do. Everything's a remix. None of us are actually original. So it's just figuring out from that. There are, however, things like, what are they called? Getty Images are current, like they made a lawsuit because they had trained on their data set without knowing, and then their little Getty Images logo appeared on one of the generative images and stuff like that. So there was like, it's still in the system right now. This is still going. It's still in the system right now. People are still trying to figure this out and whether or not like how copyright and stuff's going to work. But yeah, currently you can just take stuff off GPT. Oh, there it goes. You can take stuff off ChatGPT and post it wherever you want, and that's completely fine.
And I do think this is a conversation that is happening. Like this is a conversation that's continuing to happen, and there will be some changes as quickly as this is happening. Things are going to be put into play, I'm pretty sure. We had a whole panel here at Academy X about it, where Francis Valentine led that panel. It was fantastic. I think there's a recording of it somewhere. You can always come at us at me at support here, and we can find that for you if you want to see it.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so let me just change this panel real quick because it's not showing my preview. Okay, there we go. So that's, as you can see down on this timeline, if you know anything about this, it is cut it all up. So this podcast is a bit outrageous. So I don't know if you all want to hear this one. This is us taking piss. But like, what I might do is I'll just, because it's going to be noisy when I'm talking. But as you'll see, like it'll be, let me see. Oh, my computer's having a meltdown while I'm trying to do too much screen share and play and do this. So as you can see on the timeline, all those different little boxes, it's literally just cut back and forth. And then as you, I might just like, oh, my computer's not liking this at all. But as you can see, it's switched and changed depending on what's happening in the scene, right? So it's just like cutting back and forth between us. And so that there would take ages to do for someone to come and do. And that took like all of like 6 minutes or 5 minutes or something like that. So Autopod, amazing tool. I'm going to run out of time to show you other stuff, but honestly, just Google Autopod. It can do all sorts of different things. So that's like jump cut editor, which is what we're talking about, jumping through different people. Social clip creator, that's the other thing that we're talking to. Like it can make little social clips for you, you know, in different ways, different sort of framings and things like that. So it won't, my computer is going to die if I try to do that right now. But that is Autopod. If you're an editor and you're doing podcasts, shit, man, this is like the best thing right now. And then where else are we up to? I think I might have closed my other thing. I closed my last tool I was going to show you, and now no, I'm going to lose where it is. But I guess because we are kind of getting up to the top of the hour anyway, I don't really need to show it. I might just stop my share. I don't even know how to do that now. Look at this. I can use AI so much now that I don't even know how to use any other tool. I've hidden all my controls, and so I don't know. There we go.
There, I did it for you. There we go. I know something.
So, I can't. Oh, now I can't hear you. Why is that? No, who knows?
Can you hear me now? No.
Oh, you know what? Oh, no, why? Because I muted myself.
There we go.
Here we go. So, yeah, I'll probably leave it there anyway. I closed something else that I wasn't meant to close, but I didn't want to get too specific on one thing. And I know that a bunch of people are going, oh, I wish we could deep dive on one thing or whatever. And you've seen, but the idea was just to showcase that like AI is everywhere right now. It's in every tool. Everyone's trying to utilize it, trying to figure out how they can make their product better with it. And as I said, like the majority of AI is going to be boring. Like it's just going to be workflow stuff. It's just going to be part of our daily lives. You're already living with AI everywhere. That goes through everything. Like Google Maps trying to tell you the best direction. It uses AI to figure stuff out. Like it's there. We've been living with it. It's just this generative AI and large language models that we're getting excited about. But they too will just be incorporated in everything. There'll be a small percentage of stuff in AI that blows your mind. Like the thing that blows my mind the most right now is people using AI, like creating AI influencers. And if you haven't seen this yet, just go Google AI influencers. And like, I watched this one of, it was bikini models, right? And they had created these bikini models that you could not tell that they were fake. They had videos and everything. And there was a whole squad of these girls who go to Bali and they go to Monaco and all this sort of stuff. And these guys had like made, and they were getting brand deals and like they had people subscribing to their different things and whatever. And like, that is insane. Like create complete AI influencers that have a look, have a sound, have a voice, all that sort of stuff. I personally love it. Like we currently as a team are thinking like, how do we do this ourselves? Like, how do we create an AI influencer and make other profiles of TikTok or whatever it might be, but not for the purpose of tricking people, but for the purpose of storytelling. Like at the end of the day, you still need to be able to tell a good story. You can't just make an AI influencer and make it do what it needs to do. For it to be successful in whatever format you got it in, you still need to be able to tell stories with it, and you still need to be able to make an influencer, right? If you can make an AI become an influencer, you could probably have made a real person become an influencer. The only difference is that you can make this AI look and feel however you want it to be, which might maybe, I don't know, more desirable or whatever it might be, or you just might be camera shy. And so the reason we're as a team trying to figure out how we utilize it as AI influencers is we get a lot of companies who the owners don't want to be the face of the TikToks, or they don't want to be the face of something. And it's like, what if we can create you a AI character? We tell the world it's AI, like we'll let everyone know. We don't have to trick everyone, but we say like it's no different to a mascot. It's no different to Bart Simpson. Like it's just a character we create for you and your business for the purposes of promotion, like the Briscoes lady, right? Like just like that, like no different. It's the Briscoes lady doesn't own Briscoes, but we all know who she is, and she's the character and the ambassador for the thing. So why not create one that's AI, which then doesn't cost you any money for talent, because talent is expensive. So that's probably my last sort of words on that. There's AI influencers. That's the one I think is that's the 10% of cool stuff.
That's really that's really interesting. That's something I'm going to Google when we get off this call for sure. We do have a couple more questions before I release you into the world. But so with everything that you know, tools that you use, have you been trained via a specific course, or has it been a fun journey of choose and play around?
Oh, choose and play around. TikTok and YouTube. TikTok and YouTube teaches me everything. Like I'm not formally trained on anything we do. TikTok and YouTube and webinars and this sort of stuff is where I go to learn it all.
That's inspiring. I mean, that's inspiring for those of us who feel like, you know, you're the expert, you're coming in and sharing your expertise, but you're also just playing around. It's something we can all do too, is just play around. And one more question. What is the best social media image AI generator?
You know, they're all amazing. it's not that generator that sucks. It's the person. Like, I am terrible at getting AI images generated. I just can't prompt it. I've even taken prompts from people who have made these amazing images and tried to use them, and I just can't get it to work. But there are people, like people on my team know how to do it better than I do. I would say that DALL-E is one of the good ones because it's part of OpenAI. Midjourney, some of the things on Midjourney I've seen are ridiculous. So I would use those two to start with, but Adobe Photoshop, like that, what I showed you, it can generate anything you want just in Photoshop. You don't even need to have a starting image. You can just have a blank page and just say, draw me XYZ, and it will just do that for you. So it's not the tool, it's definitely the prompting. How to learn how to prompt, I would go to things like Reddit or blogs or watch video YouTube tutorials on YouTube. It's a very hard thing, but so it should be, because it's just a tool. It's not a cheat, right? You can't just go use it to make anything. It's just a tool that artists can use to express themselves, and that's all it does.
Thank you so much for coming back again and again and again to share your knowledge with us. It's always so engaging and interesting. And I know I'm going to drag you back in sometime soon, and we'll talk about more things. So everybody keep an eye out for those newsletters. And if there's anything I didn't answer or anything that Stanley didn't answer, Stanley, where can people get a hold of you besides, attention seekers, LinkedIn, TikTok? Like, where can we find you?
LinkedIn probably the best place if you want me, especially if you got a question, just hit me up on LinkedIn. I might not answer straight away, but I will answer. Otherwise, if you want to watch some stupid videos, go follow us on TikTok and at The Attention Seeker. But LinkedIn, me personally, Google my name, you'll find it.
Fantastic. Well, I can't wait to have you back. Thank you, everyone who was tuning in. Again, come to support if we didn't answer any questions or questions come up for you at another time. And I'll see you again soon, everyone. Ka kite ano.
See you guys. Bye.